Hello, I'm Alexander Khalikov, IBM Integration Technical Expert. I will show you how to use LLMs within the context of enterprise API management. You already know how to use Gemini or chatgpt for your personal use cases, but I will show you how to do that within the context of corporate enterprise API management. So the standard way to call Gemini or chatgpt is just to open a website dedicated to that large language model and ask you a question. And then large language model will generate a response for you. But within the context of corporate enterprise, you will need API management to control who got access to your LLMs, how many tokens you're going to consume, which applications got the most usage of your large language models, and how to store and control credentials and access right to your LLMs. And to demonstrate how to do that within the context of corporate API management, you will need to go to API Studio from Google, for instance, in the context of Gemini. The same technique will be applicable for chatgpt and basically all large language models, but I will show you how to do that within the context of Google Gemini. So to do that, you need to open a specific website dedicated to API keys for your Google Gemini. And to generate a key, you just need to press this button, create an API key, because you will need to provide that to your application that you're going to develop in the API management solution. And for today's demonstration, I will use API Connect from IBM, because it's the most simple way to do that within the context of corporate enterprise. And we will start with Develop tab. So to start, you need to press Add New API. And because we're going to interact with the large language model from Google, we will choose AI Gateway, because it will create a proxy server for us that will be very useful in terms of control and monitor what's happening with the usage of your large language model. We'll call our platform Google Gemini, hit next, and the title would be my first Gemini proxy. Let's choose the version. I'll choose 1.0.2 and I will hit next. And now you need to provide an API key that you can generate from Google AI Studio. I'll just use the key that I just generated. We'll provide that key as an authentication method. This is the list of paths available for the model. I will just choose all of them for the simplicity of that demo. And also, because we want to be able to subscribe to a product that we're going to create, we will need to create a product itself. And you have an option to set rate limits or limits of AI tokens that will be consumed by your application. And for this demonstration, I will choose a limit based on the number of tokens. And let's say that we can consume about 1,000 tokens within the interval of 2 minutes. Now we need to edit the API. And because this API is very, very simple, we can just start publishing it to a product. And the product usually consists of several APIs, not just one. But for that demonstration, I will just use it with a single API. And here in properties, you can see that we have provided a value for our Google Gemini API key. And now we can just start publishing this API to a product. We'll create new product. We'll call it my first Gemini proxy product. Now we need to choose a catalog that you're going to publish this product to. And I will choose my catalog that I just created, and I call that Alexander Catalog. Now we just need to click Next. And that's it. That's everything you need to do. And now you need to go to your Manage tab and look for a product that you just created in your catalog. And as you can see, the API is being published to a product. Now you can go straight to a developer portal in the settings of your catalog. And here you can see the URL for your developer portal. I have already signed in to a portal. And here you can see that we do have 2 products. And that one is actually the one that we just created. We need to subscribe for that product to be able to make an API call to it. And also we have an option to publish it to either an existing application or we can create a new one. And I'll call that the same way, my first Gemini application. Now you can see that client ID and client secret are generated for you, and you can just copy them because you will need these credentials in order to call that application from an external source like Postman. Now you need to select the application that you just created and hit next. And here from applications, you can see that that application is now active and you have access to a client ID that you will need to provide to an external party system. Just for the demo use case, I will use Postman. A good practice is to use environment variables because you can store something like an ID of your model in environment variables instead of pasting it directly to your path. And now you're ready to go. You can call your application that is managed by API Connect, and you can ask your large language model in the form of a text. For instance, I want to ask to briefly tell me how to engage enterprise integration clients in Queensland. I can send that request and it will be processed by Gemini, but with a backend in API Connect. And as you can see, the response is also in the form of a text. But there's something really interesting here and why you would like to use API management for your enterprise use cases with LLMs. Because you can see that we process that request in the time interval of 1 second and 70 milliseconds. But if we'll hit that request again, it was processed within the interval of 284 milliseconds. Which is about 10 times faster. And that is because it was cached in API Connect. But the interesting thing about that is that you can monitor what is happening with the consumption of your AI. To do that, you need to go to Analytics and scroll down to AI usage. And here you can see the usage of your LLMs, usage of your AI. You can see a heat map and the consumption of tokens based on applications and time. You can hit auto refresh to get up-to-date statistics all the time. But to go to even deeper analytics, you need to press detailed usage. And in detailed usage, you can see even more granular analytics of your AI usage, distributed by application, distributed by model, distributed by time, by usage of your cache, and the usage of your AI models themselves. You can see the difference between the requests and the response time. And that type of analytics is paramount if you're using AI models within the context of corporate enterprise. Thank you very much. I'm Alexander Khalikov, IBM integration expert. Please subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, and let me know in the comments section if you would like to see the same demo but with other large language models like ChatGPT. Thank you.